how about we take this Mop Station Pro and do some dedicated dry pass pickup. So we have some baking soda, some oats, some sand. I know it's real difficult to see, but there's rice there. So not a whole lot, but it's a typical pickup that I do on bare floors. So let's see. I now have to figure out how to adjust a custom cleaning setup. Let's see, it's a little too much glare. So let's give this a try. Let's see, I go to custom, and then I have, see, I gotta figure out where I am. See, I'm gonna move this over, but I wanna move this, make this smaller. Smaller, 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 smaller. Let's see, can I move it around? I don't want to do that. I just want to, oh, there we go. Okay. I think that's what I'm looking at. So let's try that. And hopefully that will be big enough. There. I will set that as custom. Now, let's see, I've never done this before, so I think I just click the big play button now. Let's see, does that work?
Starting vacuuming.
All right. So just dry pickup, and then we're going to repeat the same thing with something wet. And I am using it in all defaults. Yeah, default vacuum power. I could turn it up. Okay, how about we turn it up one? There we go. I just turned it up. Immediately cranked up the power. More suction, more airflow. Now I believe you can also set this machine to, say, clean the same area twice. So if once isn't enough, because there's an awful lot of debris, you can set it to clean more than one time. Alright. So obviously we missed some sand, that's easy to see. The oats, it did indeed scatter. Most of the baking soda, yeah, I got most of it. There's some though. And the rice, it just kind of scattered. So I would say if you would have debris like this, or an amount of debris like this, to probably set it to, you know, do it twice. Come on. All right, at this point in time, as you can obviously see, it has become lost. It is totally off the map. And now it says cleaning complete, but it's still going. Well, how about we run this again? Because one way or another, still have to pick up what it left behind. So let's see. We go back to custom, and I'll make the area a little bit bigger. Move it around a little differently. See, I'll do that. I think that's about as big as I can. Well, you know what? Yep, let's try that. So I'll bring it a little bit closer into the base station, and let's go.
Starting vacuuming.
I do have it second highest power. Is it going to get all the sand this time? Yep, I got all the sand. That's pretty easy to see. So just for something so you can see it and hear it, let's put it on maximum. There, now you can hear how loud it is. That is fairly loud. Okay, how about we turn the speed down a bit? That's kind of loud. All right. Come on. Now, something that I just noticed is done is it's flipped some rice and sand over here right next to the left front side of the base station. So overall, except for what it scattered, it got everything second round. First round, it just didn't seem to follow the predefined custom mat very well.
Cleaning complete. Returning to self-cleaning station.
So you drop some right there. I don't think it's going to pick it up. Okay, it keeps missing the station. Hey, maybe it'll get the rice. It might just get it. We'll have to check and see. But it is having trouble docking itself. So cleaning complete, but it's still running and it's still struggling to dock itself. I mean, it's got plenty of room, that's for sure. You know, I think it picked up some of the rice it deposited. No, well, you know, it spread it around. So there it is. It just moved it. I know it's real difficult to see, but it just moved it. All right, it's still having trouble trying to dock. Okay, now it is definitely off the map. So it's gone off the defined area. So I would say and request that Yeedi take a look at this firmware, which is 1.03, and see if we can't get an update to where it does a little better job mapping, because it still seems like it's in the beta stages a little bit. I mean, if it says cleaning complete and it's returning back to the station, it should just go back to the station. So this continues to clean for a number of minutes. Right, can it figure itself out? Backing in. So a number of minutes after saying cleaning is complete, it does manage to go back to the dock. We have some rice there and here. There's probably one or two other grains. Oh, there we go, over there. So rice pickup is a bit of a challenge. And apparently with this firmware, getting back to the dock is also a bit of a challenge. Let's take a look at the dry dustbin pickup. So the machine's off, otherwise it would be complaining quite a bit. Let's open this up. I can take this small filter out here. Oh, okay, so you can see clearly we picked up some of the fine dust. So most of that's going to tap out because it's not wet, not a big deal. And here is another foam filter. It's a tiny little bit in it. Some white streaks, not a big deal. And remember, those are, of course, washable, and you need to dry them. Don't put them back in wet. And here's what picked up in the main recovery tank there. And there's some in here. So all this can be dumped and or washed out and then put back. So I'm going to dump this in my trash that you can't see off camera. And then you could get all of this wet, rinse it out, and then put it all back together again. So that's what I'm actually not going to do right this second, because I want to move on to how well it mops without any predefined, well, without any physical borders. I'm going to remove all the chairs I did in an earlier video. So let's let's change to mopping.
Switch to vacuum and mopping mode. Starting charging.
We already have plenty of water in the reservoir. So let's choose a custom map and see what we can manage to pick up. So I've chosen a custom pattern again, and the settings are down here. We're going to do this twice, and we're going to use, I guess, 3/4 vacuum power, maximum water flow level. And here we go. So now it's getting the mops wet. While it's doing that, we have some salsa, some ketchup, mustard, Parmesan cheese, Worcestershire sauce, and there's just regular cheese, I guess. And I think that's some juice from like marmalade. And it's all in a fairly enclosed area. Still getting the mops wet. So I want to be clear that this particular robot vac does not store its own water on board. Yes, in the main unit, of course, it has a huge tank, but it's this literally dribbling everything on the mop to get the mop wet. And you can see the mop is definitely now damp, and there's water in there. Okay, here we go. Maximum mopping power. So how well is it going to follow the custom map? Yeah, it's doing a pretty good job. That cheese is going to be tough. I don't see any more cheese. Okay, at this point it still has missed a stripe. And right there, it's never touched it at all. Not yet. Let's see, is it still putting down any moisture? Yep, it sure is.
Returning to self-cleaning station to start self-cleaning.
All right. So it got the ketchup right at the end. It missed a little bit of a tomato slice. And it's determined it needs to redampen the mops. So it's going to clean the mopping, the two mopping pads, and then it's going to redampen them. And we'll take a look at the dirty recovery tank when we're all done. Want to see what's going on. There's some dirty water accumulating way down in the bottom there. We'll close the lid, let it do its job. Now I think it's still on round 1. And there it goes. So it's having trouble picking up the large piece of debris that's there. It might get it at some time, but it's had the opportunity. It's missed so far. Is it going to get it? Is it going to get it? Oh, no. Didn't get it. Went right over it. Didn't get it. Well, it's probably kind of half stuck to the floor, I have to admit. So something like this might be just, a bit too difficult for it to pick up. So if you have dog food or anything else that's of that general, size or shape or stickiness, it might present some additional challenges. So let's see what the water's like. Now see, you can see what's going on in there, right? So all those little nubs and ridges scrape the mops off, and then of course it deposits water onto the mops and then, tries to suck it back up. By the way, those little perforated holes right there, they blow out nice cool air. Quite a bit of it, actually. You can feel it when it comes by you. Okay, did we successfully get the tomato section? Looks like it. Alright, so given enough time, it'll get it.
Returning to self-cleaning station to start self-cleaning.
Alright, second time returning back to the station. Maybe it's a good thing it cleans the ramp to go into the station in case it gets dirty. Hey, why not, right? Now I think the floor is about as clean as it's going to get. I mean, let's be realistic. So I don't think we're going to do any more cleaning. So it looks like it's finishing up round 1 as far as I can tell. So I think we can probably just stop it here. So we can take a peek at the inner workings. I don't think, no, you can't see the mop spinning. They're buried too far in there. All right, I think we're going to call it quits here. So I will stop that.
Cleaning paused.
Cleaning paused. Got it. All right, now let's see. I think I can push the button right here. It says go home. I wanted to do that.
Returning to self-cleaning station to start self-cleaning.
So you have buttons on the base station itself, and also you have buttons in the app. So still has trouble parking itself. It'll get in there eventually. I guess a final clean. Yep. The pumps actually shake my floor a little bit. I can feel it through my feet.
Cleaning paused. Click the Start Pause button to resume.
Okay, we're going to call it quits here. And now, let's see how dirty everything is. After removing the robot, let's see what kind of dirt we have in water. Well, I would probably recommend, to be honest with you, is taking a sponge or paper towel or something like that and wiping that up periodically, especially if it looks a little gross, because it could start to smell over a period of time and depending on what you pick up. Let's remove the mopping attachment. Robot being off, of course, otherwise it might take off and decide to go somewhere. Yeah, we definitely notice some discoloration. And let's see, this part comes up here. This is the dry recovery bin. So let's see if we pop this up. That's what's in here. You can see the cheese made it in there, that's for sure. And furthermore, you can remove this particular section and you have a filter. Let's see, anything get in there that easily comes out? No, not really. Okay, and that looks pretty clean, you have to admit. And the other foam filter, the secondary foam filter, yeah, a couple of hairs in there. That's about it. This all can be washed, obviously. In this case, yeah, I think so. Now I don't want to get the electronics wet, so yeah, don't put this in there in the water. So I'm going to wash that out. Don't need any Parmesan cheese in there. Reminder, you've got your little tool to cut hair off and or flick various things out. Okay, I will go and make sure those are completely dry. Now let's take a look at the mops. So these just pop off. Remember, there's no water in this thing, okay? This does not hold water like other models, right? This is only electronics. So don't get that part soaked, all right? Let's take a peek. How do we do? These peel off, obviously. Let's see, anything coming out? No, not really. So these mops are pretty clean, even after picking all that nasty stuff up. I mean, I picked up cheese and ketchup, some mustard, and there's nothing in here. So it did clean the mops well. There's both sides as proof. So go ahead and dry these completely. Now let's take a look at the dirty water bin. So how much water did we use? This was completely empty before we started. Pop that up. There we go. And you're going to want to rinse that out. You know, I can only imagine sometimes there might be somebody who forgets to do this for, I don't know, weeks, months. And yeah, depending on what you pick up, it could end up smelling. So bottom line is, make sure you actually rinse this out periodically. Maybe, you know, every week, something like that. Let me show you what we have for water usage to date. Now, what I'm going to show you is not the water usage for this particular part of the video where I just did that small section. I went and did my entire linoleum, which is 220 some odd square feet. And I did it mostly on high. And then, of course, this particular pickup where we, you know, got the cheese and the ketchup and whatnot, again on high, but a much smaller area. And started out with this being full. And here's the max line. And it only went down to here. So it hasn't even used a half a gallon, a little more than maybe a third of a gallon. So this definitely conserves water. And what's cool is I was wondering, when I was doing my easier test yesterday, I wanted to confirm that it left the mops clean, or mostly clean. And this does. So I'm definitely impressed at how well it actually cleans the mops. So that was a concern that I had, and you can see picking up all that nasty stuff on the floor, the mops are clean, and you know, they smell nice. So that's great. As I mentioned before, it's always going to leave a little bit of water and debris in here, somewhat inevitable. So I just have a sponge and I just kind of mop that out. Very little left, but that just kind of makes me feel better. I've now had the MopStation Pro in use for a few days, and I think we can summarize its pluses and minuses, but I thought it would be more helpful if I compared it to the Vac 2 Pro featured on the right. Now, obviously, these are two completely different types of machines, although they're similar in many ways. I mean, they both actually do dry pickup and they both mop. They're in completely different price classes, to be sure. So the huge pluses, the big game-changing pluses, so to speak, for the MopStation Pro is essentially, because of the 1 gallon water supply tank, you have a nearly unlimited supply of water. So if you had, let's say, maybe up to 2,000 square feet of hard floor, linoleum, tile, something like that, and say maybe you had a ranch home and it had thousands of square feet, all kind of like level on one floor, you could use the MopStation Pro, and maybe you would go through all or most of the water, but it would be fully automatic. You'd fill everything up, you'd make sure that the machine was ready to go and fully charged, and then you would just run it, and it would clean essentially a very large single area. And that's fantastic. So the Vac 2 Pro neither has really the battery life nor the water in its much smaller supply tank, nor the self-cleaning ability. I mean, it's just a pad. So that's where the Mop Station Pro could really excel. Now, I only have a few hundred square feet of linoleum on my first floor, so that difference doesn't really sway me a whole lot one way or another, but I could definitely see somebody living in a ranch or some other type of, well, geez, you could almost use it in a commercial environment, to be honest with you, and you needed to clean a huge wide open space. The Mop Station Pro would definitely work very, very well. I also bring up the self-cleaning. So when this pad gets dirty, it really cleans much less effectively. And the Mop Station Pro returns back to the base and scrapes itself off, dampens itself, and then keeps on going. And that's really wonderful to see that. Big game changer there. And as I also previously mentioned, the battery life, while I did kind of complain a little bit that the Mop Station Pro took a long time to charge, the batteries in there, even with the mop spinning, just seem to last forever. So that's why I estimate, maybe 1,500 to 2,000 square feet, depending on a few factors in there, you might get some very useful cleaning power out of that. So there's a big difference in price, of course, and there's also, you notice, a big difference in size. The Mop Station Pro takes up more space. Some people might not make any difference. If you have very large open areas, you could probably fit it right into a wall somewhere and it just won't make a whole lot of difference. But the Vac 2 Pro obviously is much more diminutive and won't take up nearly as much floor space. So I suppose, to sum up, if you feel that you have a need to clean either repetitively a lot of hard, flat floor surface areas, or a very single large area, again, huge amount of tile, hardwood, linoleum, be what it may, that the Mop Station Pro could definitely fit your needs. So thanks for watching, and also thanks again for Yeedi for supplying the review unit. Until next time, happy mopping.